and welcome to another episode of Talent Matters, the podcast for recruitment businesses. And I've nicknamed this podcast the Recruitment Podcast of Dreams. No one else has verified it yet for me, but you'll see what I do with this. Talking of dreams, most recruitment business owners go into business, set up their own company with big dreams of selling big, securing their future financially, maybe securing their family's future financially. Unfortunately, sometimes the dreams can turn into nightmares. So today we are going to be the digital equivalent, hopefully, of a dream catcher or of a nightmare catcher. I'm not sure which way around it is. And I am joined by Mike Ames. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
Hello, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm doing real well, thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Mike, you are the founder of Flair, and you're going to tell us more about Flair. It seems like you've been doing that for about the last 10 years or so. And from what I can see, your business helps other businesses to extract every single last inch of value from their business and help them to achieve their dreams. Not sure how many times I can say dreams in an intro for a podcast, but I will stop that right now. But no, today is going to be a really, really good one. It's a topic that a lot of people talk about. It is a lot of people's ambitions and visions to sell big. So this is a good one. So if you're watching this and it's on your radar, then as they say, stay tuned. Hopefully this will answer some questions for you. So let's get stuck into it. Mike, how are you?
Dave,
you good?
Yeah,
ready to go?
In good shape. Yeah, busy. Lots going on at the moment. I think there is for everybody. We're all wondering what next year will bring, and I suppose, all things considered, we want to get ourselves prepared for whatever is coming our direction. But I say nothing to be afraid of. Just keep doing the right things. You'll be absolutely fine. So all good to go. And of course, those people that want to sell their business, eventually they may well just do that. So
yeah, it's a busy time, isn't it? We're lots of discussions about putting Christmas decorations up and Christmas shopping, but actually also from a business perspective, you're kind of trying to wrap up this year, sort of looking over the horizon at 2023. Lots being talked about as well. So let's we'll come on to that for sure. But you've been involved in a couple of multi-million-pound sales. You are well positioned to advise on this. Can you just kind of give us a little background of you, so some people may not know who you are, who Flair is? Just tell us.
Let me start at the end and work back, because that's what most people want. So I sold my first business in 1998 for 24 million quid and could have retired. I owned a third of it, as you do. So, I mean, that was the opener, I suppose. And I'm not saying that to boast or anything like that. I'm doing it for two reasons. First of all, to show that you can build and sell a recruitment business, hard as that may be. And secondly, to give me some credibility, I suppose, because there's a lot of people out there that do the talk, but never actually, when you dig into it, have delivered everything, or they've been part of a much bigger business, which is not the same at all as growing and selling a business yourself. And then, having tried retirement for a short while, a very short while actually.
How long did you try retirement for?
Well, I knew within about 3 months it was not for me. I was 40 and it was not for me at all. I had a psychological issue, and I just felt depressed all the time, and I had to have some counselling. And this woman, bless her, said at the end of it, well, look, you need to get a job. You need to get a job, that you'll be okay then. So I did. So I set up a second business with a couple of the guys who'd worked with me in the first business. And we sold that one, that was 2001, and then we sold that one to Harvey Nash in 2017. Not for as much money, about £15 million sale. And I know we're going to talk.
That, though.
Yeah, it's a decent amount. Yeah, decent amount. But I know we're going to talk about this later. But the reason I was able to sell those two businesses is not to do with how brilliant I am, sadly. It was a set of circumstances, really, that apply to saleable businesses. And I'm going to go through that with people later if they're interested, because if you don't tick these boxes, the chances of you selling are very, very, very slim. Did you know, Dave, right, that you'll never guess this, right? I'll ask you, what percentage of recruitment companies end in a corporate sale, which is big enough to retire them? What do you reckon?
Oh, I think you might have told me this actually.
Oh,
So
that's
now we're
cheating
testing
then.
my
If you know
memory,
the
but
answer, that's cheating.
I'll guess it 8%.
Okay, 0.2%.
Oh wow.
In 2021, RSM, the accountancy people, they've got a division of their business focused on recruitment, and they tracked all the deals. And of the 40 odd thousand recruitment companies in the UK, only 47 of them ended in a corporate deal. So the chances of actually making a sale statistically are pretty slim. And as I said, I've been very lucky that I was in the right place doing the right thing at the right time. But if you're not that lucky, then you need an alternative approach to become wealthy, because a business sale probably isn't going to tick that box for you.
What sort of typical size would you say a recruitment business needs to get to? Because you see lots of recruitment businesses, and they will start off with 2 or 3 people, like you said, the founders, and then it seems that most businesses, and maybe someone watching this can verify this, but get to maybe 20, and then they'll either hover around that part in terms of 20 people. Some will grow very big, but most of them tend to be smaller than 20 people.
Yeah, about 80% of recruitment companies are 10 staff or less, and about 50% in total are solopreneurs, like 1 or 2 people just doing their thing together. It's interesting because it partly is to do with turnover, and how you're organized, because growth, there's this myth with scalability that it's just adding more clients, which gets more revenue, which means you need to hire more people, which means you get more clients, which means you get more revenue. It isn't. It absolutely is not that. That's part of it, but there's more. To grow a scalable business, you need to grow your turnover and therefore number of clients and therefore your staff, but keep your shape. And that means you need to keep your staff happy. Often bigger companies lose that, very much so. As you probably know, if anybody's worked in a larger company, they don't seem to care as much. It's just that they lost their shape. The second thing is profitability. Very often companies will continue to grow their turnovers dramatically, in fact, and that's what you see if you do like a company house search on them, but their profits are tiny, like really small, many of them. So when Harvey Nash bought us, 650 million turnover, 9 million profit. I mean, really? I could invest that money in the building society account and get more than that. So that's not really going to work. You've got to keep that profitability. And the last thing is service levels with your clients. They tend to slip. So scalability means, you've got to add clients and turnover and people all the time, but you've got to keep your profitability high. It can't slip. You've got to keep your staff happy, motivated, and you've got to keep your clients, your service levels for your clients high. Otherwise, they will just drift away. And that's what a scalable business means looks like. So if you talk about like size or turnover, 8 people is the magic number. Things start to drift at 8 because you can no longer manage by proximity, by managing, because you can see people and be with them and you know what the hell's going on. And you can manage your clients because you know who your clients are. You get above 8 staff, it starts to drift. And then you become what's called a yo-yo company. You must know what that is. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go to 8, and they go to 15, 16, then back to 8 or 6, and yada, yada. It's because they've outgrown their management strength. So they're losing their shape as they grow, and therefore the wheels come off, really. So to answer your question, you could sell anything. I could sell my company today. That's not the question. The question is how much you're going to get for it. And if you're a small business and you've perhaps got 2 or 3 major clients and you're the main driver of that firm, who is going to spend a lot of money on that? Because I wouldn't. Because if you leave, or when you leave, then the clients will probably go, and whatever staff you've got left will go. You'll end up buying fresh air. So there are other considerations that buyers look for. There are 7 of them, in fact. I'll go through later what they are. But there are 7 things, and you have to have ticks in these boxes, because if you haven't, the chances of getting a big buyer are very slim.
Yeah. I've just realized that we're so kind of still on the intro in terms of, and I'm so interested in this, getting stuck into this. We've kind of gone straight into it. So you'd sold that, the second business, and then started Flair, right?
No, I started Flair before we sold the business. Started it. I just got a bit bored with recruitment again, doing it. I didn't really. That's why I sold the business in the first place. The first one, I'd had enough, and there I am doing it again. So I stuck around with the guys until 2010. They were very good. They let me do other things, which was very good. But I just thought it was time to go on my own. So I became a sleeping partner in Crimson, which was the name of the company I sold to Harvey Nash, and just went out and did my own thing. And it was just supposed to be a lifestyle business, really, to keep me occupied. I didn't want to go through what I'd gone through in the early noughties, that feeling depressed and feeling very, very anxious. I wanted to have a purpose, and Flair gave me that. But since then, it's grown into a business, and we're currently 4 people, just about to go to 5. I know no one's particularly interested in that. You can Google me if you're interested in that. You can see all about that. But essentially, what I do is help build scalable businesses for people. And as you'll see later, that doesn't necessarily mean to say a mini title page, because the chances of doing that are pretty slim. It's really hard work. It's not as profitable as you think. And the chances of actually getting a sale are pretty slim. So it's not that so much, but it's to build a scalable business that gives the owners what they want, I suppose.
Just a quick kind of follow up on when you said that you sold your first business and, kind of spent some time, clearly, obviously enjoying that retirement, and then very quickly realized
I didn't enjoy it at all.
Quickly became depressed.
I didn't enjoy it at all.
Is that something you see a lot? From people that work their lives, build up this business, sell it, and then be like, they sort of question, then what's next?
No, there were 2 of us, my business partner, and we had a third sleeping partner. She was the wife of one of our partners who was killed early on in a car accident. So she kept her shares. But my other partner, who looked after the back office, left 3 months after Modi's turned up, and has been happy as Larry ever since. He's never worked. He's got a little place abroad, a little farm, and he just ponces around doing charity work. He loves it. Not for me, though. I think you've got to understand what drives you as individuals, and you can't look at someone else and think, oh, well, I want to be that, because if I'm that, I'm going to be happy. I think you have to understand what makes you what you are, what your drivers are, what gets you out of bed in the morning. And quite frankly, a bank full of money was not it for me. Neither was it being, as my wife referred to me as, Bertie Wooster. If you don't know who Bertie Wooster is, you Google him. But that lifestyle of just poncing about, really, it's not for me at all. And I need a purpose. I'm going to work until I'm 107. So that's how it works now. And I'll be very happy with that.
Fantastic. So let's kind of continue down the sort of the yo-yo business thinking. You're 8, you've gone to 16, you've gone back to 8, you've been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, you're getting a bit sick of it. What are some of the options that are available to, or some of the things that a company should be thinking about?
Okay, so the first thing that anyone who owns a business should do is realize that that business is there to serve them, not the other way around. I know it's a simple throwaway remark and it's like business speak, but no, really, seriously, that business is there to give you whatever you want as the owner. That's its primary purpose. We forget that sometimes. We go to work, we're trying to do a good job, looking after our staff, looking after our clients. There's a lovely expression, when you're up to your arse in alligators, it's difficult to remember that you were there to drain the swamp. And draining the swamp is giving you what you want. And I'll tell you exactly what it is. You can write these things down for yourself. If you can define this, then you're halfway there. The first thing is lifestyle, which is a combination of money and time. So you've got lots of money and not much time, that's not very good. If you've got loads of time and not much money, that's not much better either. So what you need to figure out is how much time and money do you want to give you and your family the lifestyle that you want. Now, don't try and work out how you're going to get that, because that'll just mean you won't do it. Forget all of that. Assume whatever you want you can have, and just document how much money you need to lead the lifestyle that you want right now, and how much time you want to be able to enjoy that lifestyle. Number 2 is freedom. And that is the freedom when you go to work, you do what you like best, you do what you're best at, and you do what has the biggest impact in your business, and that's all you do. Everything else is done by other people, right? Again, don't imagine how you would achieve that. That's a secondary question. The first question is, what do you think that those things are? Because once you've identified them, you know what you're going to build a business to leave you to do. You put other people in to do the rest. And then the third thing that you get from a business as a business owner is wealth. The ability at some point to say, do you know what? I've had enough. I'm out of here. I'm leaving now. And you've got enough money. And that may involve a sale or it may not. I've known it go both ways. But the bottom line is you have got enough personal assets to generate income to keep you until you're 99, I think the IFAs work it out at, without having to go into a home that smells of cabbage, So those three things are the critical things. And once you've documented them, you're halfway there. Then all you need to do is build a business that delivers them. And most people can deliver all of those off around about 10 to 12 people, pretty much, including the wealth, right? It's not difficult to do. If you work it out, you can work it out really, how much money you can make with 10 people, all bringing in, say, I don't know, 150 to 180 net fee income a year. A third of that is profits. It doesn't take much to work it all out, really.
Yeah.
And that's enough to invest. If you want 3 million quid and you've got 20 years to gain it, or 15 years, you're talking about 150 grand a year investment. Well doable on those numbers, well doable. And in 10 years, sale or no sale, you're good. You can go. So I think another piece of advice I'd give you around that is everybody should engage an IFA, a proper wealth manager, who can do a real cash flow, lifetime cash flow projection. So you know exactly how much money you need to be worth by the time you retire, and to tell you how much you need to invest each year in order to get that. If you do
I wonder how many people actually do that from a business, because you set up your business, you start recruiting, you start doing deals, you start collecting money, and you just go on and on and on. Yeah. You must see that a lot, right?
Well, yeah, I've dealt with over 100 recruitment companies as a consultant, and loads beyond that in all the free stuff that we do in our shows and whatever. And I would say that 1 or 2% have even begun that process. They've kind of thought, oh, I'd like to retire with 5 million quid, because everyone says. Yeah, well, good luck with that then, because you can do it, but good luck. I'm not being facetious, because you need a lot of luck to do that, or you need to be very, very, very special. And most people, of course, aren't, because statistically, most of us are average. I certainly am. So I think that as a first step, anybody can do that. You could do it right at the end of this podcast. You can ring up your wealth manager and say, I need a lifetime cash flow. Okay, and just understand the numbers. Once you understand the numbers, you can then plot the size of the business you need. It's really easy. We have a spreadsheet that does it. You just slot a few numbers in, and the machine tells you how big your business needs to be in order to do all of those things. And then you're halfway there. Then all you need is a simple plan to transition your business from where it is now to where it needs to be, and you're done. Right now, okay, that's called a cash cow lifestyle business. It's a thing that we promote a lot, because it's if you do it properly, it's, as opposed to 0.2%, it's 99.8%. So
this is it.
If you do it properly, right? So it's obviously a thing that I'm very keen on, even though I didn't go down that route myself. But the beauty of it is, if you design a company which is a cash cow lifestyle, this is the irony of it, it's more saleable, because you're not a critical part of it. And to make a cash cow lifestyle business, you have to really dig deep to maximize profitability. That's the key thing, not growth. It's the mistake that most smaller businesses go for. They go for growth. They don't make much profit, but it doesn't matter, because we're going for growth. Then they have an implosion. So all that money they invested gone to waste. Then they start all over again. Madness. It's about profit. So it's about productivity. It's about keeping a stable team. If you have an unstable team, lots of comers and goers, it costs you money, lots and lots of money. So a more stable team, and there are ways that you can do that, of course, and you're focusing on profits. So that's about efficiency, making your people as efficient as possible. It's about picking and choosing the kind of work that you do, and making sure that the fees that you charge are reasonable. They're not too bob and a conker, because you'll never make a lot of money doing that.
It's funny, isn't it? Over the years, there's there's lots of different businesses kind of come and go, but the kind of the saying of turnover is vanity and profit is sanity. It's still, that's a very old saying, but that's still very true, right?
It is, and I think people know that. It's just that if we grow our turnover, we'll have so much more profit. But it doesn't really happen like that for most companies. This yo-yo effect, you can see it everywhere. It's so common in recruitment, it's a cliche, really, And I don't think you should go down that route. Abandon the dream of a mini Michael Page unless you can tick these 7 conditions. And even then, you have a much, much easier life if you build a cash cow lifestyle business, because the clue is in the name, really, cash and lifestyle. But I think that if you can do that and focus on something different, focus on your team, make an objective to keep a stable team, build a stable team. And what happens is when you build a stable team, the longer it works together and the longer it stays with you, the better it gets, the more productive it becomes. I'll tell you one thing you can measure if you're listening to this and you're a recruitment company owner from the get-go: profit per employee. Just measure that. It's dead easy over a 3-month period, right? Aggregated over a 3-month period, rolling forward. Keep it on a graph in a spreadsheet, keep it on a graph and see what happens. Because obviously, every time you take on a new person, your profit per employee drops. Obviously, it's going to, because you're taking cost, but no revenue. And then what you do over time, that profit per employee lifts back up again. But often, it doesn't go to exactly where it was before. It's a little bit below. Then you take on the next person and you repeat it. So gradually, what happens, same way with Harvey Nash, how did they become, that low in profitability? I'll tell you now, one hire at a time. So you fix the profit per employee and you will not drop below that, and you will not hire someone else until you've lifted it back to where it was before. And preferably, by judicial use of training and tools, you lift it even further, make it go skyrocket, because that's when the big money comes in.
And I guess, again, it's easy to just get drawn into hiring more consultants to do more billing, to work different desks, to start different, to work in different sectors without really, you get drawn into the growth and turnover, seduction again.
Oh yeah, less is more. People do too much. The question they answer is, can I do that? And that's not the right question. The right question is, should I do that? Completely different question, completely. And if your market, the sector that you're working in, is got plenty of room in it and it's not under threat, then the answer is no, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to stay this. I'm going to be the go-to guy, the go-to girl for this sector. It's okay to have more than one sector in your business. It's safer to do that, eggs and baskets, but you must be very careful how you move on. And you must be very careful when you move on, because if you move too soon to a new sector, often the old sector just dies down a little bit, loses some of its vim because you're not focusing on it anymore. So I think it's very important to realize that less is more. Do you know, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple after he'd been away and set up Next, and then Apple bought it into the Apple group, I think there was something like 358 or 385 product lines. Steve knocked it down to 5, said it's too much, can't be great at everything, sucked it right down. And that's very common. The less you do, the more successful you'll be at it, and the more money you'll make, and the bigger name that you'll have in that space, which means you're more attractive again, should a buyer come knocking at some point in the future.
Very easy to look at all the bright lights and think, I want to do this and this and this and this, and kind of try and do it all. And as you said, it's very difficult.
I think the big enemy is ego, really. I don't mean that in a nasty way. We've all got egos, we're human beings. So it's not a judgment or anything, but it's the ego. And what will other people think of us? Oh, there's so-and-so. He set his business up at the same time as me. And look at how many people he's got now. Look at where he's trading. Yeah, but is he making any money? Chances are he isn't. So
it's a big metric, isn't it? It's a big metric of what's deemed as success is how many employees you have.
It's madness. It's utter madness. Tell you what the only way to measure success is on those 3 metrics. Do you have the lifestyle that you want? Do you have the freedom that you want? And are you getting wealthier every year? Is your personal investment strategy, whatever that happens to be, is it getting bigger, your portfolio, so that one day you can say I've had enough? Because that's the measure of success, not how many people you've got.
Yeah.
And it's a big old bear trap to fall into, that one.
Needs some thought, doesn't it? It does need some thought. Now, you said earlier that there was 7 seven kind of key
Yeah, I can
things
go
that you
through them
would?
very quickly. I have a slide. I don't do PowerPoint very often, but I have a slide because it's easy for me to just show people, and I'll very quickly talk through them. And if you've got any questions, maybe you could act as the audience, Dave, because we obviously this isn't live.
I'll
So
try. I'll
try your
try.
best to ask me anything you like about it. So let me just share my screen with you, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so the first one. Whoops. That would be good, wouldn't
Oh,
it? There they are. They're all up. I'll talk about them all at once then. PowerPoint and me. You see what I mean? That's why I don't
yeah.
use PowerPoint.
Everyone
It's
loves a
rubbish.
PowerPoint. I'm just
Oh no,
glad you
no.
haven't got the, all the flowing animations and stuff.
I haven't
So
got those things really. Anyway, there we go. Right.
super.
So an EBITDA of about £1 million plus. You can sell less than that, of course you can. But when you've got £1 million EBIT, you go on a lot of people's radars. Then people are looking. They're interested in that kind of volume being added to their EBIT. So they're pretty cool, which was the reason that Modis bought us in the first place. Contract over perm, it goes without saying, because contract is every month you make some more money whether you get out of bed or not. With perm, you've got to reinvent your business every single month and every single year. If you want to grow, you've got to do what you did last year plus some more. Whereas
Yeah.
with contract, if you do it properly, it's incremental. So I'm earning now, I'm going to add to what I'm already earning and add to what I'm already earning. And of course, it's got a lot more longevity on it. If you've got some really good deals where you've got some contract placements, people can be there for several months or even years sometimes when we did it. Not so much now, I know, but of course buyers like to see that because it's longevity. You're going to make more money off white collar, obviously, than professional and professional vacancies than you are of anything else. So the more senior you place, the more money you make per placement, the more they like it.
Is that simply because there's the salary is higher?
Yeah, mostly, yeah. I mean, in recruitment, it can take to process a vacancy and get £4,000. You work the same amount of hours and do the same amount of stuff as you do £8,000. It's not that much different, really. I accept as soon as you get into kind of search territory, that's different. You need to do different things, but lower down, not so much. So definitely go for the higher fees. And if your business doesn't do higher fees, time to think about launching a new revenue stream which is aimed at higher fees. That's the thing I would advise people to do. The fourth one, obviously, if you've got all your eggs in one basket, if you've got 2 or 3 major clients and that's it, if one of them goes, you lose a third of your business. Well, clients ain't going to like that. So potential buyers, aren't going to like that. So what you need is a really good, well-balanced and secure client estate, a mix of some big ones, lots of medium-sized ones with potential to grow, really good, and then some smaller ones, which could be medium ones or always going to be smaller ones, right? And if you've got a mechanism to win clients, if it's just not by accident or vacancy scraping or all that dreadful stuff, then you can pick and choose the clients that you want and work on them until you get them. In other words, you manage your client estate properly.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough one to get right, though, isn't it? Because we all work and we land that big fish of a client, and then you become reliant on that client, don't you? And then you have to try and find someone of similar size almost before you lose that client, which can be difficult.
But really, it's those middle-sized clients that you go for. They're the best ones to go for because the middle-sized clients potentially could grow bigger, but they probably haven't got those hideous service level agreements and
payment terms
and margin caps and a whole bunch of other things. It's volume. There's volume really. So not so much that. The bigger money, I think, is as a medium sized where you can build a relationship with someone so that they come to you first and they have more than one requirement a year, several requirements a year, whether you contract or permit, doesn't make any difference. Those are the golden ones and they're out there. I mean, this business is 40 to 45 billion pounds a year. So there's plenty of different clients out there. The trouble is there's 2 types of business development. And for the last 12 years, we've all done what's called tactical business development, which is made up of 2 parts, which is vacancy scraping. So it gives a job, or speccing. I've got this great candidate. Here you are. Do you want to see it, right? It's tactical business development. And that's all the market has known for the last 12 years because it works really well when demand is higher than supply. Okay. It doesn't work so well. In fact, it hardly works at all when supply and demand are about the same space or supply is greater than demand, which is what we're about to move into over the next 18 months to 2 years, I would suspect, for most of us at least. So what you need then is strategic business development, which is completely different. It's just a million miles away from Giz a Job. And it's what we built both of our businesses on, was strategic business growth, because it focuses on the relationships with key decision makers and clients that you want to be customers, with companies that you want to be clients, right? So it's very different. It's not driven by timing. Vacancy scraping and specking are driven by timing. If you're not looking, not going to get anywhere with it. But it doesn't matter, because you make the next call and the next call and the next call. With strategic business development, timing is not an issue, because you're saying to them, look, I need to understand how you want to work, and I need to explain how we work and show the benefits. And if you like what we do, eventually at some point, perhaps we'll become suppliers and you become clients, which is a completely different conversation to what most recruiters do. Well, I'm telling you, in the next 12 to 18 months, you'll be having that conversation a lot more than Giz a Job, because it ain't going to work.
Yeah. Let's talk about that then. I mean, everyone is talking about it, recessions and the like. We're in a strange place though, with the number of vacancies that we've got available in the UK, the amount of employment or the level of unemployment that we have, pretty low. You know, this is going to be a new recession for us, right? Or
since 2010, 2008 to 10, yeah. This 2020 wasn't a recession really. We just didn't know how to work with each other. I'm just going to do a weird thing and close this curtain, because I look like a police informer and my face has been blacked out on the video. There I am, look. There I am. It's me. 2020, we just didn't know how to work with each other. That was the deal. So when we figured out how to do that with Zoom and various other things, we were fine. Yeah. And then, of course, the government was pumping huge amounts of money into the economy. So everything was fine. What's going to happen is probably going to be closer to what we experienced in the early 90s, which wasn't great, I've got to be honest, or the early 80s, which was even worse, or certainly 2008, 2009 and 10. So, and there will be an increase in unemployment. It's likely to double to about 6.5%, which isn't going to affect everybody, of course, but it will affect certain sectors more than others. And people will just hoard their money. That's what normally happens. We'll just ride our way through. We won't spend any money on anything. We'll just hold fire, get through it, and then we'll be fine. So people that need to hire will continue to hire. Those people that need to hire to invest or grow probably won't so much. Yeah. And if it follows the patterns of previous recessions, what will likely happen, there'll be a gentle drift down for 2 or 3 months, maybe first quarter of next year. And then it's either going to fall off a cliff, like literally gone within a few weeks almost, or it'll just, hopefully, which is what we're all hoping, it'll kind of go down and then come back up again very gently. And I wouldn't like to predict which it will be, but I tell you what, as a business owner, you have to assume it's the former and prepare for it. Yeah, that's a true mark of a business owner rather than a recruiter that owns a recruitment business. They're different.
How do you prepare for it then?
Well, there's a few things you can do. First of all, productivity, for sure. Make your business as productive as it can actually be. Make sure that the team is stable. Make sure that they're well trained, well focused, happy. Make sure that your profit per person is going north. Make sure if you carry KPIs and OKRs around each of the functions in your business, that you're smashing the OKRs and the KPIs are doing the right things. The activities are where they need to be to get those outputs, right? And that's a really important thing, because you can't go into a recession just with any inefficiency in your business. It'll be shown very quickly and you'll suffer because of it. So that's number one. Number two is get some cash in the bank. So chase your bad debt. Don't starve your business, because you can actually go too far and not spend anything, and it's madness to do that. Continue to invest in your people, continue to invest in the tools, but just be a bit sensible and be on top of your debtor days. Make sure that the money comes in better in your bank than theirs. And what you're looking to achieve, really, preferably 6 times your monthly run rate. So if your cost of 10 grand a month, you want 60 grand in the bank. There or thereabouts, right? So that's roughly it. I'll settle for 3, but I'd really want 6, to be honest. Because with 6, it means you're not going to do any business at all and still get through 6 months. Well, of course, you'll do business. So that's likely to be 12 or 18 months, which is towards the end of the recession anyway. So another thing is to really drill down on your clients. On average, in a recession, companies will use half as many agencies. That's what normally happens. They don't need as many agencies anymore because there's a lot more people about and there's a lot less vacancies. So you need to make sure that you're north of the cut. And the problem is none of us really know unless we ask. It's a very simple question. If you, Mr. Client, if you had to use half as many agencies, would we be one of them? And please be honest with me. And if they say, well, I've got to be honest, probably not. Fair enough. Okay. What have I got to do to get myself north of the cut? Because what happened, certainly 2000 actually, I remember, which was only a downturn for the IT industry, which is what I was in. People just stopped giving requirements out. And so it's like, well, I'm not getting requirements from them anymore, but people are being placed there. Oh, well, we don't need to use you anymore because the supply list that we've always used is delivering for us now. And it's one of those very quiet things. Quiet quitting, I think, is another way of quitting, isn't it? Clients just quit quietly. They don't make a big song and a dance of it. They don't stop giving you work. So you need to know, you need to understand where you are with your client estate as it stands now, and you need to get yourself north of the cut, certainly on your big clients. Just because you're a big supplier doesn't mean to say you're going to survive. That's for damn sure. And I think as well, when you look at this, you do need a machine which is going to bring in new clients. You need to develop a strategic business development function, which for a lot of companies is brand new. They haven't got it at all. Nothing. Their BD is literally tactical. Here's a job, here's a candidate, which, as I say, isn't really going to work that well, probably in a recession.
So there's some really good prep. I mean, I think that's really valuable, some of those things there. And it's good to do that now, because I think sometimes we can put our head in the sands a little bit and just say, well, when it comes, then we'll address it. Then we'll
too late.
But actually,
you
want to start that cadence now in terms of.
Should have started 6 months ago, really, Dave. Yeah. We've been banging on about it. On anybody that sees me online, you see I've been banging on about it for ages because, quite often the biggest effect that I have on a business owner isn't so much practical; it's mindset. Most SME and micro recruitment companies are owned by people who are recruiters who own a business. What they need to be are business owners that just happen to do recruitment. Now, you might not think there's a big difference between those two. It's enormous. It's gigantic. And certainly if you're a business owner, one of the things that differentiates you from a recruiter that owns a business is your visibility of the future, constantly looking for threats. The metaphor they use is to climb the highest tree in the forest, but constantly looking for threats or things that are coming up that you need to mitigate. And the bigger the threat, and the more serious if it happens, the more effort you put into mitigating it. Now, yes, I accept there will be a lot of things that you prepare for that never happen. Well, fine. That's the price you pay. But then nothing will happen that will cause you to lose your business. And not only have you got to put a tick in those 3 boxes we talked about earlier, which is lifestyle, freedom and wealth, but also security. You need a secure business, which is going to ride anything. And what I've just described to you is how to build a secure business. And part of it is addressing risks as early as you can. And this has been coming for ages, and we all knew this was coming, really. And if say, for example, you suddenly need more money than you've got, well, that's tricky. It's a bit late, really. If you start losing clients quietly, they just stop giving you work. Bit late, really. Should have figured that out 6 months ago and fixed it. And if you want to put together a strategic business development machine for your business, that can take quite a long time, certainly 6, maybe even 9 months to build it properly. Well, it's going to be a bit tricky if you don't start now. So my advice is start now with everything. Prepare now.
So if you're watching this, and where are we? We're at the end of November. I guess by the time this goes out, be early December. If you haven't started, start now.
Yeah.
Start now at double time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's one of the Mike Ames show, which we do on a Thursday at 12:30. We've actually got a YouTube channel, which you can put if you want in the description of this podcast. And one of the shows we did is half an hour entirely on that, on the preparation work. And we had someone come in as well who's got a lot of experience in this and talk to us about it. So well worth listening to if you've got half an hour to spare.
We'll get a link for that and get on watch it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're kind of getting towards the end now, and always chucking this random foodie related question. It's got nothing to do with recruitment at all, but it seems to get quite a lot of interest. So you are having a dinner party. You're going to decide to put on a show. So it can be a dinner party. If you're going to invite your clients, pals, best, whoever it is you want to invite over, but you want to put on a show. You want to make it really, really spectacular and good. I don't know if you're a cook, although I did see on your LinkedIn profile that you are an experimental chef. So let's dabble. This is going to be a good one. What are you cooking? What are you putting on? What are you serving up?
Okay, well, there's a certain amount of personal indulgence in this. And funnily enough, I can do this because we watched I'm a Celebrity last night when they picked their favourite meal, and my wife and I were talking about it, so it's very fresh for me. I love those little prawns that you get in Spain, which are done in oil, and they've got garlic and little bits of chili in them, and you mop them up with crusty bread. I love that. So that would be first. That would be the first course. Unfortunately, my wife is allergic to prawns, so I've also got this little melon, this trickler of melon stuff that I would do, where you get 3 different melons, and it's a sauce done with raspberries and balsamic vinegar and sugar and salt and various things, and that goes down tremendously well. I think for the fish course, almost certainly sea bass, but instead of cooking it, marinating it in like a little lemony juice thing. That you don't need to cook it. It's very thin slivers because it's only a thin course, obviously, but it's absolutely delicious with a little bit of light salad. Beautiful. Meat course, leg of lamb, 100%.
I love the fact we've got 2 starters, a fish course, and I'm loving this. This is
yeah. Choice is everything, isn't it? Really. And then for the meat course, leg of lamb, done on potatoes, and then the potatoes cooked with garlic, tons and tons of garlic everywhere. And it cooks a very long period of time, and the potatoes are just delish. Very soft, very garlicky, and they go really well with some green beans and maybe a few little carrots done in kind of a lemony thing. And then for the sweet, I would go, if you're in France, you'd have the cheese next, wouldn't you? But I'm having that last. So then for the sweet, I think a fruit salad, because I know there's always those people that no, not for me. Good luck with that then. And I'm going to go for the lemon drizzle cake. I know that's a cake, but lemon drizzle cake with a little bit of custard in it. I think that's beautiful.
It's your show. You can have whatever you want.
Well,
you have a lemon drizzle.
I might even have a bit of fruit salad if I feel like it, with a bit of fresh cream. Who knows? And then for the cheese, various cheeses. But for me personally, Stilton, which is 3 months past its sell-by date. Camembert, which is 3 or 4 months past its sell-by date. And then a little bit of fresh, maybe goat's cheese or something, and a few crackers. And some grapes. That's it. And then coffee, decaffeinated for me because I don't drink caffeine. But yeah, all in all, and I would be stuffed at the end of that. Tell you the truth.
I tell you what, my mouth is watering. That sounds absolutely fantastic. So
nom.
Yeah, I am. I'm there, whether or not I'm invited or not. I'll be sneaking in. So that sounds top notch. Mike, that was great. Time has flown. Some really, really good stuff in there. And I think there's a lot of lessons that the viewers and listeners can take from that. They can find you online if they want to.
Google my name. I'm everywhere. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Google Mike Ames. Check out the YouTube channel as well, because I think that sounds absolutely spot on. So have a look at that. So thanks very much for coming on. Hope that you've had an enjoyable time.
Thank you very much for having me on, Dave, and I hope the viewers have taken some value from it.
Hope so. Let us know, everyone watching, listening, let us know what you think, and do heed some of that advice. It sounds like 2023 could be a bit tricky, so if you haven't started prepping for next year, then please do that now as some good practice. But thank you very much for joining, everybody. Hope you have a good week, and we will see you again soon. Thanks very much. See you later.